Hey everybody, Caleb Rothe here from WGI Sport of the Arts. I'm the Percussion Education Coordinator, and I'm joined once again by James Catherall. We are going to talk about the worst part of this whole entire series, and that's what to do in case of a disaster on the performance floor when it comes to your electronics, your setup, your systems, all that kind of stuff. So, James, I know this is the one that gives everybody nightmares all season long, and they're always panicked. Everything's been great up until we needed to work at finals or, something like that. What are some tips that you have, some recommendations on what to do and what to have in case disaster strikes at the worst possible time?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know number one, like easy done is like this is going to fix everything is to have backups of everything. And that is something that has been said to me since day one. And I still feel like I relearn it every year. And I still get it stressed to me more and more as I talk to more people. Is it's like, yeah, you have some backups of some stuff. And it's like, no, backups of everything, like anything that you're going to push into that gym. And if it decides to not work in that like 5 minutes from push to in the gym, that you have a backup ready to go that's working and you just put that in and it's ready to go. Whether it's a computer or it's cables or it's a power cable or if it's backup batteries, like any of those types of things that you're using, if it is complete mission critical to have that thing, then you have a backup of that thing ready to go to just put it right in and plan it right in. Especially, I would say, like the most important one that is usually the most common is the computer and having a backup computer that is ready to go. And that's something for me that I'm usually typically doing is walking into the group and I'll have like a backup laptop, even if it's just my personal laptop to walk in, like only for when we walk into the gym, I have my personal laptop there ready to go. If we get in there and I get like the deer in the headlights looking at me and they're like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, all right, it's time. Cool. Here's my laptop, plug it in. We're ready to go. Like that is that, so that everything is ready and we're not in that situation where you're in the gym and it's the part that everyone has nightmares about, of everyone staring at you, and you have, however, you're at WGI finals and there's thousands of eyes staring at you and the room is completely silent as you're like waiting for a computer to restart and get things going, is to be able to just have that backup there and ready to go. That stuff is super important. The other part of it is also just having familiarity with your system and knowing the common weak points of your system just to be able to tackle those things quickly. That to me has always been the most successful too, is like when there's a group where I have built out their entire sound system, then I know the weak points. And so when an issue comes up, it's like, oh yeah, it's this thing, because that's always been the thing. Just swap out this cable and we're able to quickly identify exactly what the problem is, and then we can tackle those problems. The final one that I do that I think also helps a lot is just as a training for your members of your ensemble, is to go through some of those types of scenarios during rehearsal. Is setting aside a time where I'll do stuff like that. Like I'll send the electronics or even just like the whole front ensemble outside, and then I'll like unplug a cable or I'll do a certain thing, and then I bring it back in and I say, okay, set everything up. And then they have to now identify what is the thing that stopped the system from working, and then they fix it, and then they're ready to go. Just so they can go through a little bit of that troubleshooting practice, so that we're not only trying to go through those problems on the performance floor at the worst possible time, but we're also practicing what could happen when we get into a gym and how does that scenario look? What are the steps we go through to make sure we know how to identify the problem, fix it, replace it, do whatever, and then be ready to go for the performance.
I think for a lot of groups, we have two kind of setup modes. One is show mode, like it's a show day. We're going into the gym, we're performing. And the other, a lot of the time, is rehearsal mode, which is like way more relax and chill. And it takes, it takes however long it takes. One of the best tips I ever heard was stop having two modes. Everything is show mode. Like if you're going to rehearse on a Tuesday night, when the front ensemble goes in, run that like you're in a gym and we're under time constraints and we're doing everything for real. If you do that every rehearsal, imagine how many reps they get in setting up under show conditions over and over and over again. And then I love what James said about, as much as we want to practice setting up, we got to also practice for the calamities that could possibly happen. So the idea of, hey, on this rep, the computer's not going to boot. what are you going to do? Like something like that, where you are either literally unplugging cables like James does when he sends all of his performers outside, or you're just telling one performer, like, hey, this time I want you to panic about something going wrong, so that it gets the performers some reps in what to do in that kind of scenario. And the last thing I'll add is just staying calm, cool, and collected in those moments. The best, like the most pro people at this, you can see when something isn't going right, everybody immediately looks to that instructor. And if they are relaxed and chill, everybody feeds off of that. If they immediately panic, if they also do the deer in headlight thing, that becomes contagious across the ensemble. So practice, get reps on this, and then also just remain cool under pressure as much as you possibly can in those situations. Hopefully, that will help decrease the likelihood that we're ever in that panicked situation when all the eyes are on you. James, this is awesome. Any other final tips before we wrap this up?
No, I think that was it. I think that
Great.
covered it.
James, thank you so much for diving into this topic with me. Everybody, I hope you got a lot out of this video series and the couple of things that we were able to talk about with power and redundancy and planning and systems that'll provide enough headroom for you to have, hopefully, no issues with your electronics and your power this season and beyond. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again next time.